entertaining podcasts I listen to. I don't listen to many. That one, Francine, is a different point of view. It's a female point of view, but someone who's been through the hardcore wars.
Yes.
So what Francine has to say to me matters and is important. And there are two guys up in New York, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
I find them hugely entertaining. I find them fun to listen to. But those three are the only three podcasts really other than, the PW Insider stuff that I listen to.
We're visiting Pharaoh's here after last night's Super ECW tribute show.
Deluxe.
Pharaoh's looking good though as he gets older. He can handle his liquor a little better, right? But we'll be floating around. Hopefully, get to see a few people. We'll be posting these videos. So we'll talk to you soon.
I don't care if they talk shit. I don't talk to hypocrites. If you hate me, that's just fine. Go on down and get in line. They try to tell me what I need, and it sure ain't nothing good for me. Don't care what they say, it's all just talk. Gonna head my way and walk my walk. They try to bend me, but I won't break. I pay no mind to the noise they make. I keep my head, I hold my ground. Ain't no man gonna knock me down. They can swing, but I won't flinch. I was built for times like this, so talk your shit, but be aware. I don't care.
All right, welcome back to the Howard Stern of Pro Wrestling. Jimmy, when I see those videos, I miss the studio. Even though you talked some sense into me in the last show, right? Having someone push a button for you really doesn't make a difference.
Well, ultimately, in the YouTube world, it kind of has been proven that it doesn't.
Yeah, but bro, I don't want to live in the YouTube world, man. I've always said that, right? I'm not in the YouTube world. I don't want to be part of the YouTube world. I mean, it's definitely
Too late.
Well, I understand, but I mean, it's definitely, probably the best way to make money doing this whole thing. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't want to be in it. Anyway, I don't want to get into the thing because I'm very excited for this guest. And I got to tell you, I am officially a new fan of hers. How are you?
Hi.
Dynamite Doll. Great to have you here.
Amazing. How are you guys?
So
Good.
I got us. We were talking. You're in Canada right now. You'll be at the big event. So this is kind of like our push towards a big event. As I told.
My first time in New York.
Is it really?
Yes.
I will tell you, you will enjoy the big event. It's usually a pretty cool little deal. Fans are a bit crazy though.
Yeah. Well, I just did For the Love of Wrestling in Manchester, England. So I don't know size wise. It was pretty big, pretty busy.
Now you
Tell me
originally
about
from
Manchester.
Yeah,
How is Manchester? I'm very curious about Manchester, being a Manchester United fan.
So to be honest, I haven't been out in Manchester very much. We stayed there 2 nights, but we were just right close to the venue. So I just had an Airbnb and we weren't out in Manchester. And before that, I've only shopped in Manchester years ago. We actually stayed in Birmingham this time, which is about an hour and a half from Manchester. And my dad used to live in a small town called Wigan, and that was about 40 minutes from Manchester. So much different than Manchester. So
Got it.
How do you end up moving to Canada then from England?
I was born here. Yeah, my dad met my mom in Calgary, and my mom's sister was dating Bret Hart. So that's how she then started going around wrestling. And my dad was here training with the Hart family, and then my mom and my dad met. So
before we get going here, first of all, I am now a big fan of yours. We watched, a lot of people have podcasts and everything else, and I just was made aware of your podcast recently, and I got to tell you do a fantastic job. I thought your interview skills and the way you listen and the way you react, I got to give you a lot of kudos. What made you do the podcast thing?
Thank you so much. Yeah, this feels different now, being interviewed again. I'm like, I don't have to be the one that's, I don't know. I get nervous. I'm still new, right? I'm on episode 17, but the reason I got into it was I have been a wrestling manager for like 13 years in the local Calgary scene here. And then COVID happened. And then that's when I started, being a guest on podcasts. Yeah, that was the first tag team that I managed when I first started out. That was my very first show, or second show, actually, that picture.
I'm going to pop that up again.
And I was at the Victoria Pavilion, which is where Stampede Wrestling took place. So it was going to be a one-off for me, and I did the show, and then I loved it. I fell in love with it. So I was like, I'll be back next month. So I got the bug from there. But yeah, during COVID, I was like, well, I'm going to, just start doing interviews. Like, what else am I going to do with my time? Just doing interviews in my basement. Like, couldn't see anyone. The whole social distancing thing was going on. And then after that kind of, went away eventually, and I was managing again. And I found with managing, because when I first started managing, I was dating a professional wrestler at the time. And then we split up.
Oh boy, we got to ask you about that one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then we split up, and then I'm like, I quit. I didn't do it anymore. He had a shoulder injury, so he actually ended up quitting. And then a little bit of time passed. I'm like, okay, well, he's not wrestling. I'm wrestling royalty. Like, why aren't I managing? So I got back into it with, other local workers and trying out different people that I'd work with, different teams. And I just felt I was always having to find the right connection and find the right fit. And that was really hard to do, I found, when you're not dating the wrestler or you're not like related to the wrestler, because it would make sense when my cousin Harry Smith and I would work together. That made sense. Like, we had all the family legacy behind us, and it was a natural fit. But trying to always find, a worker where the chemistry was there wasn't always easy. And I wanted something that was my own thing. And I was like, okay, I toyed with the idea of like backstage interviewing, and I don't know. I just kept saying, I want to do a podcast. And finally I did it. So here we are.
Well, I got to tell you, doing a fantastic job. Like I said, I'm a fan now. It was well done. Now I'm going to ask you this, knowing what you know about wrestling growing up, right? Okay. So again, we're not in the business. You're in the business. We're just fans, but we've been around long enough. We were just talking about on our last show on how we came into this, like these fans, and then you get weathered, for lack of a better term, understanding and learning this whole game and how this works, and being, an attractive, intelligent female. Why would you ever consider getting into it? Now I understand who your father is, but again, knowing everything, why?
I think for me, it's kind of like we're all kind of misfits, and none of us are normal. And we all have that in common. And it's just kind of having that common ground of, wrestling, the love of wrestling, 80s wrestling. And of course, I was born into it. So it's always been around me. And as much as I tried to ignore it and push it away, it was always like coming back towards me or trying to pull me back. So yeah.
Well, take us back to the beginning, the very beginning. Like, how old were you when you realized, growing up in that household, you know what? I may not be like all the other kids on my block.
I think my dad, like, I was quite young when my dad was with the WWF at the time. But after kind of the early 90s, my dad had gone back to England, and kind of his career was already downhill at that time. But my uncle Brett was kind of that father figure to me and my siblings that would step in and kind of do those dad things for us. And he came to some of my school concerts, like Christmas concerts, and everyone's like, oh my God, your uncle's here. Like, everyone's marking out. And so that's when I was like, yeah, I'm pretty cool. A bit of a celebrity, bit of a big deal.
Let me ask you about that family, the Hart family, and everybody involved. What you mentioned, Brett, right? And Brett is constantly in the news. Iconic figure. I mean, when that guy travels, doesn't matter. He could come, like the big event, for example. He could come 1,000 times, and the line is that long.
Longest.
So what he's done in the industry alone is incredible. But again, you're in the industry. Brett seems a bit dissatisfied or unhappy. Might not be the right description. But why does Brett come off like just not being happy?
I don't know. That's a very hard question to answer.
He's happy around you, though, I would trust.
Yeah. Maybe he
See?
just doesn't like the questions he's being asked. Maybe it's all a work.
Could be.
Well, you know what? That's a good point.
And honestly, as people get older, you get more like blunt, and you're just like, I'm here. I can say whatever I want. So he's at that level now.
Well, let me ask you this: how do you feel about the fans? They come and see you. What are your thoughts about the fans and the fandom of pro? You mentioned pro wrestlers being these misfit kids.
Yeah.
How about the wrestling fan? Are they misfit kids also?
Yeah, we all are. I mean, a lot of us are on the spectrum. Like, I'm super ADHD, and when we love something, we love it hard. So when I have a new passion, like, I study it, I know it in and out, and that's just how I am. Like, people, when they buy me Christmas presents or birthday presents, I'm really easy to buy for because I'm very loud about what I like. Cats, Hello Kitty, like pink, the color pink, Union Jacks. It's just I put it all out there, and that's part of my ADHD is I'm very passionate about what I love. So
you love cats?
I think we're all like that, right? Sorry. Cats? Oh, yes.
No, she loves cats. She's okay with me. Right, Bruce?
Oh, you know what? I did check out your guys' podcast, and I saw the cat, so I was like, I'm in.
Oh, just it. See, Jimmy, you won her over with the cat. It wasn't us.
Is that a girl? A girl kitty?
It's Bruce. No, this is a boy.
Oh, Bruce. He's a boy. It's like Bruce Hart.
Bruce. Yeah, I'm surrounded by boys. I got 3 of them in here as we're doing this right now. Hopefully, nobody needs to go use the pan.
So let's go back to you dating a professional wrestler. Why would you get into that venture? Like, we speak to many female wrestlers, valets, right? And everybody just seems to fall into the trap of dating a wrestler, right? Is it just because you're part of that family?
Unfortunately, I think I couldn't avoid it. Basically, I'm like, my mom married a wrestler. My dad's cousin, Davey Boy Smith, was married to Diana Hart. Like, and then all the Hart aunts are all married to wrestlers or athletes. And I think the same way I would push wrestling away, I always had this idea that I was supposed to be with like a performer of some type. So when I reconnected with my father at 20, however old I was, 26, shortly after that, I was like, got the bright idea, like, oh, I need to be with a wrestler. So I started going to local wrestling shows. And then, of course, I started dating one. And
this was a plan? You actually?
Yeah. It literally was kind of a plan. Like
Wait,
you brought it upon yourself.
I got to ask this: is mom, when you tell mom, "Hey, I'm going to start dating a wrestler," what does mom say to you?
Oh my God, she loved it because she grew up in the time with my dad with Stampede Wrestling and all those fun times. It takes her back to like a really good time of her life, and she knows wrestling. Like, she knows it more than I do. And all the stories. She's got all the stories. So she loved going again to the shows and, wearing the merchandise. And
the wife of a wrestler, I don't think gets enough credit, right? Because especially back in the day when your father traveled, right? He was never around, right? He was constantly on the road. How did that affect your mom, right? I mean, I'm assuming that he's on the road all the time, good-looking guy, built like a brick shit house, right? There's got to be jealousy, loneliness, anger. Like, how did that affect your mom? Were you aware of these situations growing up?
So my mom's a pretty hot babe. So I don't know about that part, but she did live in the same city as her sister, Julie, who was married to Brett. So us kids did everything together. So I don't think she ever felt alone. Like, on weekends, we were always sleeping at Julie and Brett's. We did everything together like siblings, like, so Brett's kids and myself and my siblings. We did everything like we were siblings because our dads were always gone. So Christmas dinners, like if the dads weren't home, like we were always camping in the summer. Like, so I don't think my mom totally ever felt alone because she always had her sister and they're kind of living very similar lives.
Oh, that's a good answer. Yeah. How is Julie nowadays? Do you keep contact with her?
Yeah, she's my godmother. So she's great. She's super busy. She has a ton of grandchildren, and that's basically her life now.
I tell you again, just being a fan, I was always very impressed by her. Like when you saw her in documentaries or whatever, she's very outspoken, very intelligent lady. I was always very impressed by her.
Yes, and my mom is the exact same. They're very strong, independent warriors. Yeah, they're indigenous, so they have that warrior blood.
I think you got to be that, considering, right?
Yes.
So, look, coming off of last week, right? We had Jacques Rougeau on, and Jacques, I had brought up in the interview that we had heard in Pennsylvania. I guess you were at a meet and greet. He was there. You approached him, and I asked him, Jacques, what was that like? I mean, this is here. I don't want to call Dynamite Jacques' nemesis, but we all know the history behind the stories that have been told. And here comes his daughter that he never met, and he explained your guys' conversation and how you had invited him to come on to the podcast and how he accepted it and how very nervous he was. And comes Monday, you release this podcast, and again, incredible job. I want to ask you, what was it like knowing that you were going to interview Jacques Rougeau, considering the history between him and your dad?
It was super nerve-wracking. So yeah, that was Sunday we recorded. And so Saturday, actually, when I just came back recently, so what was it, 3 weeks ago, I got back from Manchester. I actually came home with my dad's ashes. So I've been wanting, my dad passed away 7 years ago, and I finally got to bring him back home to Canada and have his ashes. So Saturday, I wanted to go down by the river. I love just that would be the spot I'd go to and feel my dad the most. Just getting my zen and kind of talk to my dad. And so Saturday, I actually took my dad's ashes down to the river, and I did that because I did not know if I could go through with the podcast. I was just like, can I do this, Dad? I hope you're proud. I hope this doesn't upset you, that kind of stuff. And had a little cry, and I had the little LJN figure in the bag with the ashes. So I was carrying it with a handle, like a waterproof bag. I didn't want anything to happen. And my dad always held my hand as a little girl. In all pictures you look at of us too, he's always holding my hand. And so the LJN doll, I was just holding his hand when I was driving after, and just talking to him and crying. Mm. And then I was like, well, now I need to go shop because I need to feel better. I need a power suit. I need a power top.
Right.
So I just popped into a thrift store, and I found that green jacket that I was wearing. And I looked and I looked and I looked, and I saw nothing. And then finally I see this green jacket, and it was perfect. And I love green right now since I'm I don't know, all of a sudden, I love Philadelphia. I'm an Eagles fan. I never liked green before, but now I love green. So, and it looked so good and just made me feel good, and it all worked out. I did it.
That you did. So you allowed Jacques to tell his story, right?
Yeah.
And again, I can't reiterate what a great job you did, because you let him tell his story, regardless whether you believed it, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I just was so engulfed in watching you and trying to figure out what's going through your head right now. So I'll ask you this first. Your father, you were estranged from your father, right, for a significant amount of time.
15 years in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anger from a daughter that's been separated from their father for that amount of time, maybe feeling abandoned? And how do you forgive? Again, I don't know if I'm using the right word. I'm trying to be respectful here, because I'm not trying to insult. I'm saying, how do you forgive as a daughter that has been, for lack of a better term, abandoned?
Yeah, those are absolutely feelings I went through my whole life, and the anger, the abandonment issues, which I honestly still struggle with to this day, even in my 40s. But I can't really tell someone how to forgive. It's actually kind of a matter of your own story. So what happened with me was I became a mother myself. And my daughter, turned 2. She was 2. I felt whole. I'm a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a young mother. I was born to be a mom. I felt so good. And then I started to feel empty again. And I was like, what am I missing? And I realized it was my dad. And I started realizing how hard it is being a parent. And, we do the best we can with what we have. And life is so short. And I knew my dad was in a wheelchair and his health wasn't well. And Facebook came around that time. And so I was able to reconnect with my family in England. And that's when I first connected with my cousin Craig. That's my dad's nephew. And I arranged a trip to go over to England to connect with that side of the family. And I was like, maybe I'll go see my dad. Like, I don't know how I'll feel. Let's just see when I get there. Like, this was a big deal for me. Like, traveling, I wasn't really a big traveler, and got a credit card, put the flight on the credit card. Like, I was leaving my little 2-year-old daughter back home, and I connect with my family that first night. We have the best time, go to a pub and get emotional and talking about my dad and stuff. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, okay, take me to my dad's. I was hungover as fuck, but I was like, let's get this over with. And I went knocking on his door and he had no idea that I was there. And yeah, his wife answered and she knew who I was. I'd never met her before, but I guess by my eyes, she knew who I was. She was like, come in.
How difficult? It's an awkward question, so forgive me. How difficult is it being born into and carrying public notoriety, or for lack of in a simpler word, carrying fame? Is it suffocating sometimes? Is it like sometimes do you wish you were just the daughter of an accountant or something? I mean,
I think my dad, the level of his star status was like tolerable, where it's not like, I think my cousins struggled a lot more with Bret, like their dad being Bret Hart, like his amount of fame in the 90s.
Right.
But my dad is like just the right amount of fame, I think. That no, I don't wish that my dad was an accountant or someone normal. Like, I'm super proud of my dad and that legacy. And
go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, do the internet stories about your father piss you off sometimes? I mean, I'm sure somewhere in the middle lies the truth, but you know how the internet can be.
I'm pretty aware of what it's like reading comments, and the ones that upset me, they upset me at a time, probably when I first started seeing them. But now it's kind of the same thing over and over that I'm just like, yeah, like I don't let it bother me. I try not to read the comments
Well, I want to get back to your father when you met him, but now that you're talking about this, you did Dark Side of the Ring. Mm-hmm. So Dark Side of the Ring does a pretty good job, but to be fair, I think they really, really push the agenda of the bad parts of the dark side of wrestling. Yeah. How did you feel about doing that episode about your father? Do you think they painted your father in a bad light?
Honestly, we were well aware of what we were getting ourselves into when we agreed to do the show. I've watched every single episode. And so we knew no matter how much we tried to say all the positive, oh my gosh, my mom, they ran out of tape recording her. We literally talked for 7 hours or something. They ran out of tape because she said positive, because she really wanted to because my mom has a lot of great memories. It was her first love of her life, exciting time in her life. And of course they don't put any of that in there, but we're not mad at them because we understand what we were getting ourselves into. We wanted to really get the message across concerning CTE and just kind of knowing the signs of CTE and if, what to do. And they did get that in there. So we were happy with that. I don't regret it at all because the reason we did it was there's not a lot out there about my dad. And I knew good or bad. And my dad used to always say it negative, positive or bad press. It's still press. So I was getting his name out there again and just keeping him relevant. And to be honest, currently, I don't know if you guys know, there's a movie in production that some UK producers are making on my father. And the way they found the story was through Dark Side of the Ring. And then he reached out to me on Patreon. So that right there, when I got that, I was like, it was all worth it. My vision worked. The story got out there and someone else picked up the story and thought it was interesting. And now we'll get our chance to tell the story as a whole, more of the good, more of the
just don't let them hack up your father's legacy like they did the Von Erichs. Okay, that's that movie. I like that movie a lot, but I felt like they did an injustice to that family also. But so let's make sure that works
closely with them. So we just did the UK convention for the love of wrestling. We were there with the movie producers promoting the movie. So we're really getting to know them, and they feel like family now. It's crazy because it's like, who would have thought you'd become family with someone that wants to make a movie on your father? But that's just the way. My mom and I are so welcoming, and they're amazing, and they want to do a good job, and they really, really care about like our side of the story and how we want it to look. And my mom's actually helping write the script. So it's.
Well, I will tell you, Jimmy and I, you probably know this already, but your father, for us in the Northeast WWE fans, right? Your father changed the way we looked wrestling, right, Jimmy? Tiger Mask, Dynamite Kid, Madison Square Garden. Watching that on MSG Network, we had never seen anything like that before. And that performance by those two guys was maybe one of the more incredible performances we had seen.
This was Madison Square Garden. You guys.
This was Madison Square Garden, right?
Yeah, amazing. So lucky.
They literally changed the way we looked at wrestling, right, Jimmy?
It's. I think it's like 1982, for God's sakes. Nobody like. They were doing things that you see commonly today, and it really was the blueprint for a lot of the things you see today. But at that point, no one had ever seen it, but who's not from 2,000 people? The pinnacle of the New York City, Madison Square Garden. It was a big deal, Mike. Very big deal.
So, Doll, I want to bring you back to when you finally meet your father after all this time.
Yeah.
What was your father's emotion when he sees his daughter? What was that like?
So I immediately started crying. I came into the living room and he was in his wheelchair, and that was the first time I'd ever seen him in the wheelchair, right? Last time I'd seen him, I was 10 years old. The last time I'd physically seen him. And I was 26. Wow, I just realized that I was 26 when I reconnected with him, and 26 is my lucky number. That's so crazy. Anywho, I just got 26 tattooed on me because it's 2026. I'm doing all this for my dad's legacy. So that just.
Jimmy, I'm going to play 26 in the lottery tonight. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm playing 26.
So I started crying right away seeing him in his wheelchair, and he was just happy. And he was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "Because I haven't seen you forever, Dad." And he was just like happy and acted like nothing had happened. No time has passed. I was like, "All right." So I just stopped crying.
Wow.
And we carried on.
Why at that point in time? What made it happen at that point in time that it didn't happen before that?
I think because my outlook on life changed. I became a mother myself. And so and with, the perks of reaching out to family on social media, I can now do that because then he moved around a lot back when we were kids and he was in England. Changing phone numbers, there's no cell phones back then. And so I lost his number at a time when we lost touch for a little bit there. And then I reached out to my family on Facebook, and that's how I reconnected with them.
And again, for people out there, this is a positive story about, reuniting and
I never wanted regret. I was like, yeah, he's getting older. I don't want to live with that guilt of I didn't see him again because of some petty fight we had, that I was holding a grudge about.
Which, again, you think about the regret you would have had if you didn't do it and he had passed away, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So same thought process with like Jacques Rougeau. I'm like, okay, I'm a forgiving person. So let's see what he has to say. So I was willing to get in.
Let me ask you about that. Okay, let's have some dialogue here. The stories you hear, right? You hear the story. Again, we don't know what the truth is, right? We know that there's a lot of working going on. We know the tales that go on, but let's just call it for what we understand happened. Your father gets upset with Jacques Rougeau for whatever reason. We don't really know the truth, right? We just know what we're told. And he nails him. And Jacques is embarrassed in front of all the boys, right? Wrestling is this manly sport. Your father just, put a whooping on it, beat the shit out of him, for lack of a better term, right? So Jacques is embarrassed. So again, I'm listening to you two go. I'm watching your face, and so here's a man that's embarrassed. He's ashamed. He. You know, and even says it to you. I felt like my manhood. I felt like I was stripped of everything because of that and hurt. So I want to ask you that when you're hearing that from a man who's revealing this to this person's daughter, that his manhood was taken away, what were your feelings there?
I just honestly, I just kept thinking how they really weren't men. They were still young, well, not boys, but they were young men. Thinking now, like, you know, and I always thought about my dad got in this incident, and then I think about how old he actually was. Like, I'm 42 right now. He was 30 years old back then.
Yeah, young and stupid, and you know, let's be
Yeah,
fair too. When you're famous like that, you kind of, lack of a better term, eat your own shit, right? You become godlike, you feel godlike, and you know, I get it. But we're talking about you forgiving Jacques. So
yeah.
why do you use the word forgive, right? Knowing that there was an altercation that started with your father and ended with Jacques Rougeau, both bad situations. Why do you use the word forgive?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if I even need to use that word. I guess you're right.
Well, again, I'm not all I'm saying. So so Jacques tells you this, and then he tells you the story how he can't sleep at night. He doesn't know how he's going to handle this whole thing. And then finally he gets the guts to like do something about it. I guess he tells a story about your father keeps making fun of him and kind of goading him and blah, 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 blah. So as a human being, you could understand that someone is upset over this, right? And they want their revenge, right? Or whatever, they want their revenge. So he goes to the bank, and I'm not going to we would know the story, but he gets the quarters, and then he cheap shots your father. He takes a shot and does some serious damage, knocks teeth out of his mouth. What were your thoughts about his approach on that?
I think, I don't know. Like, I can see from all sides how they got there. I can completely see that. All I wish is there was more accountability. And my whole thing is just, I want to spread awareness about the damage that can cause with CTE. And he didn't even know what CTE was in my interview. So I was like,
which did surprise me, right? I'll be honest with you, Doll. I think that at that point you kind of got really aggressive with him because he had said some things that you didn't agree with, and I think you were upset, and I think you shook him a little bit, right? Yeah. Again, anybody, please go to this interview because it's fantastic, and it's not just because you get mad, okay? Because you can see your true feelings coming out. But I mean, I think at one point he had said that he had knocked your father to the ground, and your father was on his knees, and you were upset over that comment. Why did that upset you?
well, because I've heard, so many sides of the story. And people that were actually there, like Bad News Brown was there, and he was really good friends with my father, and I'm friends with his daughter. And so many people are like, he did not fall to his feet. Like there's one thing my dad will do, and that is not fall to his feet. So I don't know. And just every time it's like he's telling the story different. Each interview it's different, or he's adding something throughout the years. Even I heard what he said to you guys about how we met and the interaction was wrong. So I was like, oh, okay, so now he's lying about our interactions. So that was just really interesting.
So tell me what Bad News had told you about the incident. This is interesting. I did not hear Bad News Brown's. It might be on the internet, but I personally haven't heard it.
Oh, there's a shoot interview. I think it's High Spots put it out.
Okay.
You ever seen that one? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's High Spots. And he talks about it. You should. It's a great interview. I actually watched that with my father when we first reconnected. The time I was telling you about that trip, he had like the only DVD he had was that shoot interview, and we watched it together. It was so cute. It's like you watch it over and over, and he's like, this part, he talks about me, and he's all excited because he put my dad over huge in that. So,
did your father, later on in his life hold anger towards Jacques Rougeau?
Not that he told me. I couldn't tell you for sure. But I don't think so. I think as people age, they kind of let things go. But I'm not sure. We never discussed it, to be honest.
I got you. So then later on with Jacques, he tells you that, look, your father was on steroids. He was on all these pills. He was on this. He was on that. And that really pissed you off. How come?
Yeah. Well, because of like the grueling schedule is why his body was in so much pain. They worked like 10 days on, 3 days off, I believe it was. And WWE's doctors were, back then.
Yeah, sure. You're telling the truth.
They were allowing them to do steroids. So that's why I got upset. And just like calling him a pill popper and an alcoholic. And the thing is that Jacques he wasn't social. He didn't have that social skill to like go out with the boys, have some beers after. Like my dad was a lovable social guy and, would knock a few beers back with his buddies after a wrestling show. So, and before he ever came to Canada, he never touched a drink in his life. So until he started being in pain was when he started dabbling with that type of stuff.
And again, he was a game-changing wrestler who did a lot of things different than the old school punch and kick guys. He took a lot of damage to his body. He worked a lot of events where he had he did a lot of damage to his body to entertain the fans. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. He did it for the love of professional wrestling. And I know he wouldn't change it. Like what he put his body through, if he got a second opportunity, he'd do the exact same thing because that's how much he loved it. And it didn't matter how many seats were filled, he was going to put on a show the best to his ability.
So then at some point you get really upset and then you basically tell Jacques Rougeau that he was a shitty wrestler and that he couldn't tie your father's bootstraps. Why did you get, like, to me, I felt like I wanted to understand why you got so upset, right? Jacques was telling his side of the story, whether you believed it or not. Why did you get so triggered?
I think it was just, I really was trying to give him the floor and listen. But, there was arrogance in there. I felt like there was like, he was jabbing with like the alcohol remarks and playing the victim. Keeps calling the Bulldogs bullies. Like I've been seeing this online. He keeps talking about Davey Boy Smith as well. And I'm just,
I'm going to tell you brought up a really solid point, right? Mm-hmm. You brought up the fact that he went around touring about bullies, right? And you said, you took revenge on my father, which I don't think that was the point that you were talking. You said then he continued on to prod Dino Bravo to make your father feel like that his life was going to be threatened and killed by the mob, and that seemed to bother you. So can you tell us
earlier in the interview too? He's like, I wasn't friends with Dino. He wasn't talking to me. I'm like, really? Then why was there a supposed hit on our house via him? So I just felt like things weren't adding up, and that's why I started getting angry.
So share with the fans or the people watching what it was like living in your house, thinking that there was a mobster that was going to take down your family.
Well, honestly, I was so little, like I didn't know. But hearing the story now, my mom was 24 years old, me as a 4-year-old, and my brother as a newborn. We have these big bull mastiff dogs on this acreage. Like 24 years old, that's when I became a mother for the first time. I was 24. And I just can't imagine my dad, when he'd be on the road, he was like, lock the door and take the dogs inside. Like, it's just crazy to think. It sounds like a movie. I'm like, this was our lives. So it's scary to put in perspective of if that was me or if that was my daughter's life or, like that was our life. So crazy.
And what I did when you did bring that up, because I had forgotten about that part of it, right? And when you did bring that up, I thought to myself, well, she is right? Like he got his revenge. He didn't have to continue on, right? and pile on to the situation. And again, Jacques is a very nice guy, at least from what we know, and he's always been very kind to us. But I understood your point there. But let me ask you this: another thing that triggered you was Dark Side of the Ring, where you say to him, you were laughing about the situation. And he said, "No, I wasn't laughing." Mm-hmm. What made you think about that?
Well, because every single interview I'd ever do, or talking to anyone wrestling related, always ask me, how do you feel about Jacques Rougeau? I'm like, I have no thoughts, no comments. I'm like, I was a kid, I wasn't there, it wasn't my fight. Often podcast hosts will say, are there any questions off limits? I would always say, talking about Jacques Rougeau, not my fight, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know details, I wasn't there. And same with like the Bulldogs breaking up. I'm like, no, I wasn't there, not my story. Like, I don't care to talk about that. But so when I see the Dark Side of the Ring interview, I had no idea he was interviewed for it. So when I'm watching the episode for the first time and I see that and he's laughing and, there's small children in the house, that's what I was like, rubbed me the wrong way. Like, not cool, man.
Do you feel he's capitalizing off that story all these years? Does it anger you when you see other people profiting off your father's legacy?
I mean, that's what I yelled at him in the interview. I was like, this is your only claim to fame. So I feel like I'd like to think he's at a point in his life now that he's trying to correct those past situations and not make it his, only thing about him. So that's all I could hope.
I mean, do you think doing this interview with him was healing for you and healing for him?
I think so. Yeah. I think we had things to say or didn't even know, like, I don't even know if he knew I existed. So, the experience of meeting me in person, I think it really shook him. Like, he was literally stunned when we met face to face. So, I think he sat with that for a while and was like, preparing for this interview, and he's going to be working my cousin Harry soon in Montreal. So there's just, I think there's a lot at stake. We need to continue this healing process. I feel like that was a start.
Which, again, I want to remind everybody, go to this interview because it is very well done, and it gets a little emotional at the end. But the way I looked at it coming out of it was this: here's a man who felt like his manhood was taken away, and then meets the daughter of the person he has his conflict with, and then he's ashamed about what he did. Because I truly feel Jacques is ashamed about what he did.
Yeah, I feel like he's getting there.
I do.
At that stage in his life where he's like, I know he has a son that I don't know how old he is, but maybe 30s, late 30s maybe. So these are things that he has to live with too now, and as part of his legacy and teaching his children. So I hope that our interview opened up some of that thought process for him.
Well, I tell you, keep doing it. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
What do we look like as trying to get your father into the Hall of Fame? Is there any activity? Have you talked to anybody at the WWE? What's going on there?
So I have the petition going on, of course, and I feel like we're making a lot of progress. We're making as much noise as we can. I'm going to, as many conventions as I can in the States. There's so much more opportunity for that than there is here in Canada. So I'm doing a lot of that. In the UK, I was invited again next year. So I'm really hoping that all these, and every convention that I do and everything that I do, interviews, I'm always meeting the next connection, and so I feel like it's all paying off, and I just have to be patient. But yeah,
we're excited. I want to get your take on the culture itself. Just as a fan, when I think about the Jacques Rougeau incident with your father, did any of them even stand a chance in some ways back in those days as far as the culture? You need to be roided up to survive. You have to have a certain look that Vince McMahon wants. You guys got to take painkillers because the fact that they're constantly bumping on their skulls 87,000 times a year.
Mhm.
Was there any chance for Jacques or your father to even have a shot at being rational and reasonable in such a circus land in the first place?
No, probably not. Especially with middlemen that are, just planting the
Maneuvering.
seeds. And
Right.
Well, that's
yeah,
that's what that you called the middleman. So I
you
got
Wait a second, Mike. Wait a second. Wait, hold on. He's perfect. Okay, let's get that out. Let's get that out of the way. Go
he's
ahead.
perfect. He's perfectly good at starting trouble.
Yeah,
Well,
it was very much the locker room culture was like a lot of ribs back then.
So that goes back to the beginning of this interview. Here you are, this woman knowing what this culture is, and it's like
oh,
I understand it's in your blood, but it's like,
Oh,
oh my
and
god,
let me just say I got lucky. I did date a nice wrestler, but I no longer want to date wrestlers because
good,
I do know what they're like.
you
good.
got lucky.
Being
You got very
backstage
lucky.
and
Do you think it was because of your father's reputation that you got lucky?
maybe.
It
Yeah,
might have something to do
probably.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're probably right. Yeah. Even
I,
with him
I
not here, it feels like absolutely everyone's always very respectful and takes care of me in the locker room. So I have been kind of lucky that way. Wrestling royalty.
well,
How do you think Dad would have handled the internet today, the way that the internet is now? What would your dad be doing with it?
Oh gosh. He'd probably be swearing a lot. He'd be like the Iron Sheik. Just have you seen his tweets? He's always swearing.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah.
I want to ask you this also, right? Again, you're in wrestling, attractive woman. How hard was it to you to manipulate your way around there, right? Because again, women only recently have been getting the respect that they deserve, and it's we always call wrestling a microcosm of life, and the one thing Jimmy and I speak about and we're big on is sexism, right? We have racism where we're getting closer to becoming more unified. Sometimes, you know, uh,
We are.
anti-Semitism, right? Is we're trying to get under control, but the one thing that seems to not be happening is sexism. How hard is it to be a woman in this world now and in wrestling?
So it is pretty hard. I do feel like I said I was kind of lucky. I've been kind of lucky because I do have like this layer of protection. But where I struggled is like promoters seeing my value, especially because I don't wrestle. So, paying me my worth and stuff like that. So I'm actually like, I have a manager now because I'm like, I'm too nice to always like do things for free. And like that would be me, right? Like just trying to be a good person. And oh yeah, no, it's okay. I'll do the show for free. But no, like this is now a business. Like I'm trying to build something here. Like not only my father's legacy, I'm trying to pave my own way. So there's that. And I know a lot of girls don't get paid enough for sure. And then there's a lot of just being hit on and being like, people, oh, if you do this, like you'll win this match, or they want.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking to myself, like, that's the offer. Like, hey, you'll win the match.
To be the champion. I mean, like, I'll put the title on you.
I'll put my independent title on you if you give me. I'm sorry to laugh. I'm just
okay, maybe not independent.
I mean, I hate to laugh at this, but my God, this is
Mike. You got me picturing Paulie Walnuts from The Sopranos. This is terrible.
Basically, if you sleep around, there's opportunity, and
I'm
and it's been presented to me like, hey, if you do this, blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, thank you. Like, do you know who I am?
But I got to ask you that. So when someone has the balls, again, we come from a world where like you just wouldn't have the balls to even like do that. What are you thinking at that point? It's
and I'm talking big names making me offers like, if you do this, I'll get you here. And that actually just lit the fire under me more to just do it myself. Like, no, actually, I know my worth, I know my value, and I don't need that. I'm going to continue on this journey and do it my own way.
Why do you think that professional wrestling, unlike Major League Baseball and the NHL and the NFL and the NBA, and why do you think that there's never been a union? and why there probably never will be a union, in my opinion. But why do you think that this has never happened, and do you think it should?
I have no idea why it hasn't. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, it probably should. Who is it that has something going for that? Someone did.
Well, that was the old story with Jesse Ventura trying to get it
Oh
going.
yeah, okay, that's like 80s. See,
and Hulk Hogan was like, "I don't think so,
Yeah.
brother."
Listen, I don't think today's wrestler needs a union anymore. They make more than enough money. I mean, come on. You know what?
Well,
if you're lucky enough to get into it, you know
The
what I'm
top
saying?
level certainly is doing pretty damn good nowadays. That's for sure.
Shit, even in AEW, guys making, a woman's making hundreds and thousands of dollars, and they're not
Sure.
even traveling anymore. So,
wow.
Doll, where do you think your career is going to go? What are you looking? What are the fans looking for to see from you?
I am just pushing to get my dad into the WWE Hall of Fame, and so that within doing that, I'm expanding my own brand with my podcast, with everything that is me. Fashion is something I'd like to branch out into. Like modeling, TV, everything that I can under the branch of Dynamite World.
Is your push to get them in the Hall of Fame as a team, or is it more about your father as an individual? Because to sound like a nerdy fan, there is hope in my mind, considering Demolition was also part of the lawsuit, I believe, and now they're being inducted. I believe that they'll be much more open to the British Bulldogs as a team. It's more marketable and sexy for them. Any thoughts on how you've been pushing them, or him?
I mean, I'm pushing for solo, but
Okay.
of course, I'll take the Bulldogs too, and both should be
Yeah.
in there. Like he should be in
Agreed.
there solo and also as a tag team, of course.
All right, I don't know if you could answer this, but this is one of my questions I have to ask. Did your father ever share his experience WrestleMania 2 with Ozzy Osbourne? Did he ever tell you what it was like meeting the great Ozzy Osbourne?
We never had the conversation.
I
know.
And you were in Birmingham.
I know. Well, yeah, that was so awesome. I loved Birmingham. But I think my mom said they enjoyed it. Like he enjoyed his company. They had some nice beers together, and they had a wild time. So.
Unbelievable.
So, Doll, I want to be respectful of your time again. Thank you for joining us. I just what's your final message to Jacques Rougeau so we could put this story to bed? Unless we're going into a deeper story, but I'm
not sure if I can cut in real quick. I'm not sure if this is ending with that really closed everything. Because as a fan, I heard about she's going to be in his corner possibly, and I'm like, wait a minute, go on.
Well,
are we being worked? Are we being worked, Doll? Are you working us right now? What's going on?
Well, there is a show that he is in a Rumble with my cousin Harry Smith.
Yes.
Well, after that, and I went to Montreal just last September for a convention there. And I was only there for a short amount of time. I think I only went one night, actually. I was there for the convention and slept, and that was it. So I really didn't get to see Montreal. So I'm thinking Montreal needs to see the Dynamite Doll again. And I just want to see what Harry's got in store for him, because Jacques' been running his mouth nonstop about the Bulldogs being bullies. And I said my part, and now I want to see what Harry's going to do.
And I'm kind of thinking the Doll might have a roll of quarters in her hand.
I was thinking $50
at this Rumble.
I might go to the bank before.
Look out. Doll, thanks for joining us. Incredible. Big fans. We'll see you in New York. Looking forward to meeting you in person. You're a fantastic person. God bless you. All right, be well.
You. Bye.
Dude, I love her. She's cool as shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's going to be at the big event, too.
All right, Jimmy. Now, after this interview, are we being worked?
Oh, I think that we're being worked.
Oh, now you're committing.
Well, I mean, but you know what? We talked about it before we did the interview, and I told you this is what I like. I think that this is more interesting than anything they're slinging at me on big.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Shows.
She got me. If she's working. She got me because
that's what I like about it. I mean, I'm not fully am I fully committing to it? Of course not. It's wrestling. You start fully committing.
But I gotta tell you to get me like that. If it's the case, she got me because I was totally involved in her emotion, right?
Poker face, bro.
dude, poker face.
Yeah,
Poker
face, bro. Yeah.
Poker face. Dude, true talent. Who would have
Yeah.
known? Who would have known?
My poker face. Who's that?
I kind of
Isn't that
pride
that
myself.
Dixie
I kind of pride myself on knowing shit. I guess I don't know shit when it
Not
really
in
comes
this
down to it.
business.
Listen,
Oh,
after we get
boy.
off air here, you got to stay on because,
I
you
do.
know, by the way, so I could share with you, I got this message from YouTube
Yeah.
saying they're big fans of the show. And this is
From
true. I can show
YouTube?
you it from YouTube. Big
No.
fans of the show, and they'd like us to shoot a video for a
Really?
promotion of theirs. Yes.
Really?
So we
Okay.
need, when we go off, you and me got to do a promotion. So.
Oh, geez. Now, okay. So why not?
All right, but I want to
Yeah.
thank everybody for joining us. I hope you enjoy the Dynamite Doll. Let me read some comments in case because I didn't look at any comments here. Gotta tell you, honest lady too. Very impressed. Very impressed.
Very awkward situation too with the interviewing.
Oh, look, here's this guy Clinton, Team Lee, and look at this. Look at this clown. 25,000 subs and only 35 viewers. Well, we don't have any subs, Clinton. This is a guy I've been going back and forth with because I told him, like, get out of your mommy's basement. He's like, my mom died. My mom died.
Okay, that's not good to hear.
Team Lee. Lee,
Whatever.
it's like, just shut up. Such
Team
trolls.
Is he going to get a hat? Like, Team Lee?
Michael Fenster says Dynamite Kid was dynamite. Let's put that up.
For lack thereof, a better term.
Oh, my God, bro. Let me see. 25,000 subscribers, only 35 live viewers.
Yeah.
I'm fucking assholes, dude. It's like
Go team.
Team Lee.
I'm telling
Clinton.
you. He's got a little hat with a van on it.
What a jerk off.
Down
Look
by
at
the
this.
river.
Look at this guy. Ready? These guys are gay.
That's
G-H-E-Y. Gay.
Okay.
I mean, come on, dude. Look at this guy, too. What has he got? Like a
do
scarf
I have
around?
to?
I mean, what does this guy got? A scarf around his neck? I mean, come on. Whatever. I love giving these guys a show.
I know what I'm
Anyway,
going to do on
thanks.
my Thursday night. I'm going to rage at Monte and the Pharaoh.
Yeah, I'm going to rage at them and say Team Lee.
So, what'd you do last night, Team Lee? I raged. Wow.
What a fucking
And you're making
jerk
fun
off.
of us, huh? Oh, boy.
But she was fantastic. All right, Jimmy, send us out, buddy.
Yeah, you've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh. Team Monte and the Pharaoh. And until next time, later.
Couple things I want to cover, Jimmy.
Yeah.
500 level has now improved on the M&P code. Now go to MP30 for 30% off. Jimmy, I got to tell you something, right? I was at the beach, again, 500 level. If you guys haven't looked at the shirts, right, go to the website. It's incredible. And I got to be honest, right? So it was a little chilly today. I brought the dogs to the beach. I was off work for the Jewish
cold
holidays,
today.
right?
It's cold.
It wasn't cold,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I have from 500 level, I have a Roman Reigns sweatshirt. Now, usually sweatshirts are not always the nicest fabric, unless I'm into really nice fabric because I just don't like things up against my skin. So usually I'll get thinner type of shirts, but this is a heavy sweatshirt. The fabric, unbelievable. And you're going to get a deal at 30% off, Jimmy. I mean, my God, it's a no-brainer, guys. I am telling you, once you get one shirt from them, you'll get 50. I guarantee it. And they've got all the sports. Yeah, dude, tell me what you think of it, Jimmy.
They're so comfortable. I got to get a long sleeve now. I'm telling you, I got to, because it was chilly today, especially for a guy who's been in Panama City Beach the last 2 years. It was chilly today, and I love the material. It's so silky. Is that the right word for it? I don't know.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
It's so comfortable. So, yeah, I got to get myself some leveled long sleeves. That's for sure. 30%.
And again,
off,
it doesn't, they got plenty of wrestling stuff. They got baseball stuff. They've got football. They got everything, dude. MMA. They got it all, man. And I'm telling you, it's very high quality. Again, 500 level code MP30, 30% off. So if a T-shirt costs you $20, what's 30% off on $20, dude?
It's enough. 10 plus another 20% tacked on top. Not much. It's a steal. It's a steal.
I agree. I want to remind everybody too, the Monte The Pharaoh show, hit the QR code, be willing to check out our shows on YouTube, where we got almost 24,000 subscribers. Go to our Facebook page where we're approaching 27,000 subscribers. And again, we're visiting Pharaoh's here after last night's Super ECW tribute show.
Deluxe.
Pharaoh's looking good though. As he gets older, he can handle his liquor a little better, right? But we'll be floating around. Hopefully, get to see a few people. We'll be posting these videos. So we'll talk to you soon.
I don't care if they talk shit. I don't talk to hypocrites. If you hate me, that's just fine. Go on down and get in line. They try to tell me what I need, and it sure ain't nothing good for me. Don't care what they say, it's all just talk. Gonna head my way.